Somewhere inside your Gmail account right now, there is a decision that was made for you. Not by you. For you, nobody sent you a warning. Nobody asked for your signature. A switch was flipped quietly on the largest email system on the planet, and 30 seconds after it flipped, an artificial intelligence gained the ability to read the private contents of your inbox. Your tax documents, your medical results, your late night messages to someone you probably shouldn't have been messaging, all of it. And the most unsettling part isn't that it happened. It's that most people reading this sentence right now still don't know what happened to them. Let's start with the number, because the number is where this stops feeling like a tech story and starts feeling like something else entirely. Gmail is used by an estimated 1.8 billion people worldwide. That is not a market. That is close to a quarter of the human race, all funneling their most private correspondence through a single company's servers. And in January of 2026, without a referendum, without a press conference walking users through what was about to change, Google began quietly rewriting the rules of what that inbox actually is. What most people are not seeing is that this wasn't an update. It was a transformation. Gmail stopped being a place where your messages sat waiting to be read by you and became something closer to a surveillance layer that reads them first. According to informed sources inside the privacy and cybersecurity community, the shift began with something Google called the Gemini era of Gmail. In January 2026, Google announced that Gmail was entering its Gemini era and switched on a wave of AI features by default for its user base. Think about what that phrase actually means. Not available, not optional, default, on, already running on your account, before you had the chance to say yes or no. The rollout was powered by Gemini 3, Google's flagship AI model, essentially the company's answer to ChatGPT, and it did not arrive as a small feature buried in a settings menu. It arrived as a redesign of the entire inbox experience. And here's where it gets worse. The interface itself changed, moving away from the simple chronological list you've used for 20 years towards something Google branded the AI inbox, a prioritized overview built around tasks, urgent-sounding language, and messages from contacts the algorithm has decided matter most. On the surface, that sounds like convenience. Underneath it, something more significant is happening. For that prioritization to work, an algorithm has to read every message, understand its emotional tone, decide who is important to you, and quietly build a profile of your life. Read that again. To tell you what's urgent, it first has to understand everything. There's no version of this feature that does not require total visibility into your private communication. This is not chaos, this is architecture. And once you see the architecture, you start noticing how deep it runs. Alongside the AI inbox came AI overviews, sitting at the top of your search results inside Gmail. An AI-generated daily briefing built from your own messages, automatic summaries attached to your email threads, and an expanded set of writing suggestions steering how you respond to people. None of it required a click from you to switch on. It was simply there, waiting the next time you logged in. What most people are not seeing is that each of these features individually sounds harmless. A summary, a suggestion, a briefing. But stack them together and you get something else. A system that touches every message you send and receive, silently, continuously, before a human being ever lays eyes on it. Now think about what that means for the sheer scale of what's happening here. If even a fraction of 1.8 billion accounts left these settings untouched, and remember, most people never touch a settings menu in their life, then we're talking about a private communication channel used by hundreds of millions of people worldwide, being processed, categorized, and interpreted by an AI system as a matter of default operation. This is where the story stops being about one company's product decision and starts becoming a question about who actually owns your correspondence anymore. Not legally, practically. Because access is ownership, whatever the terms of service say. But here's where it gets worse, and this is the part almost nobody's talking about correctly. This wasn't a single rollout, it was a pattern, one that had already been building for over a year before January 2026 ever arrived. As far back as November 2025, Google had already turned on workspace smart features that gave Gemini access to Gmail, Chat, and Meet without requiring consent from most users around the world. And here's the detail that should stop you cold. Google's own regional policy proves the company knew exactly how sensitive this was. Smart features were turned off by default for users in the European Economic Area, Japan, Switzerland, and the United Kingdom, regions with strict privacy law, while everyone else, including the entire United States, had these features switched on automatically and had to find the setting themselves to turn it off. Sit with that for a second. This is not a case of a company being uniformly aggressive with everyone's data. This is a company that built two separate products. One that respects privacy where the law forces it to, and one that doesn't, everywhere the law allows it not to. That is not an accident of engineering. That is a calculated bet made at the boardroom level. Most users in unregulated markets simply won't notice, won't complain, and won't opt out. And the bet is not a wild one. According to privacy researchers, roughly 95% of people never change the default settings on their phones and computers. Read that again, 95%. The default is not a technical setting, it is the actual outcome for almost everyone. This is where the story escalates from a privacy inconvenience into something with legal teeth. Because a default that quietly grants an AI system access to private communication, at this scale, without meaningful consent, does not stay a public relations problem for long, it becomes a courtroom problem, and that is exactly what happened. A proposed class action lawsuit was filed in November, alleging that Google secretly granted its Gemini AI access to private communications across Gmail, Chat, and Meet without proper notification or a real consent process. The legal argument at the center of the case is about transparency and control, alleging that implementing these AI features without genuine user consent may have violated California's own privacy statute governing communication interception. Think about what that lawsuit is actually claiming. Not that Google built a bad feature, that Google may have broken the law simply by turning it on the way it did. The response from Google tells you almost everything you need to know about how seriously this is being taken behind closed doors. As of the reporting, Google had not publicly responded to the lawsuit, even as user confusion and frustration spread rapidly across social media platforms, with many people discovering their inboxes and calendars had already been feeding an AI system they never knowingly agreed to use. Silence from a company built on communication is itself a kind of answer. And this is where everything changes, because the story doesn't stop at Gmail's front door. It runs straight into your photos, your search history, and your browsing habits, stitched together into a single profile of your entire digital life. On January 14th, 2026, Google quietly launched something with a name that sounds almost gentle: personal intelligence. The feature allows Gemini to dig through your Gmail, your Google Photos, your YouTube watch history, and your search activity, combining all of it to answer personal questions with unsettling specificity, pulling a license plate number out of an old photo, or reconstructing your past travel patterns from years of email receipts. Let that sink in. This is not a company reading your email in isolation anymore. This is a company connecting your email to your photo library, your search queries, and your video watching habits, and using all four as a single unified dataset about you. A Google vice president described the feature's two core strengths as reasoning across complex sources and retrieving specific details, but strip away the marketing language and what's left is simple. An AI reading your private emails, analyzing your personal photographs, and tracking everything you search for and watch, all connected into one profile. This is not a feature. This is a surveillance mosaic built piece by piece from data you generated while assuming it would stay separate, siloed, and private within its own corner of your digital life. Google, to its credit, has built in some guardrails, and a fair account of this story has to acknowledge them. Personal intelligence is opt-in rather than on by default, meaning a user has to actively switch it on inside Gemini's settings, and users can choose which specific services to connect, linking Gmail without linking photos, for example, or the reverse. Google also states that this data is not used to train its AI models, insisting instead that the system is trained to know how to retrieve information like a license plate number, not to memorize your specific one. But here's where the reassurance quietly collapses in on itself. Google's own explanation for why this is supposedly safe amounts to admitting that your data was already sitting on their servers, and that personal intelligence simply allows their AI to start reading what they already had. That is not a privacy protection. That is a confession. The company is telling you, in plain language, that the walls you thought existed between your email, your photos, and your search history were never really there. They were always one company, one server infrastructure, one dataset, waiting for the right AI model to arrive and connect the dots. And even inside an opt-in system, the risks do not disappear. They just change shape. Google itself admits that the AI might make connections between unrelated topics that a user never intended to link together. Think about what that actually means in practice. An email about a medical appointment, a photo from a hospital parking lot, a late-night search about a diagnosis. Individually, 3 unremarkable digital footprints. Connected by an AI system explicitly designed to reason across complex sources, they become a single, unmistakable narrative about your health that you never chose to write down anywhere, but that now exists anyway, inferred and assembled by a machine. Google states that Gemini avoids making proactive assumptions about sensitive categories like health, but the company also acknowledges that users can still directly ask the AI about those very topics, meaning the system has the access. It simply won't volunteer the conclusion unless prompted. The capability is not absent. It is dormant, waiting for a question. And a system that has the capability, even a responsible one, is a system where the only thing standing between your private medical history and a full AI-generated summary of it is a single sentence typed into a chat box. This is where the story stops being theoretical and becomes a warning grounded in something that already happened. Because when companies build AI systems that hold this much personal data and things go wrong, they go wrong at a scale that is difficult to comprehend. A retail company's AI chatbot, built with far less reach than Gemini, still managed to expose 3.7 million customer conversations and 1.4 million voice recordings due to inadequate security controls. That was one company, one chatbot, a fraction of the ambition of what Google is now building across Gmail, Photos, Search, and YouTube simultaneously. Now ask yourself the question nobody wants to answer out loud. If a single customer service AI can leak millions of private conversations through nothing more than a security oversight, what happens when the AI holding the keys is connected to your email, your medical searches, your travel history, and your photographs, all at once, across more than 1 billion accounts? And just when you think the picture is complete, a new front opens up entirely, this time not in your inbox, but underneath your search results. Google's Gemini Deep Research feature now scans Gmail, Drive, and chat content to support AI-powered research tasks. And while users can disable this through Gmail's privacy settings, the feature ships active, folding your private files and messages into the research process by default. Every layer of Google's ecosystem, one after another, is being wired into the same underlying AI, and every single time, the starting position is the same, turned on unless you find the switch yourself. So here is the part that actually matters. Not the outrage, the action. What most guides get wrong, and this is the detail that separates a real fix from a half measure, is that turning off Gmail's AI features is not a single click. According to security researchers who examined the rollout in detail, achieving genuine protection requires disabling 3 distinct settings, not one. The third, buried further still, is smart features in other Google products, which extends your data across Google's entire ecosystem for recommendations far beyond your inbox. Gadget hacks. This is not an accident of interface design. Complexity at this scale is a strategy. The requirement to navigate multiple locations to fully opt out ensures that many users never complete the process, discovering only later that settings they believed they had disabled were still quietly active. Here is exactly how to close every one of those doors, in the correct order, so that nothing is left running behind you. Gadget hacks. Open Gmail in your browser and click the gear icon in the top right corner. Then select See All Settings. On the General tab, scroll down until you find the checkbox labeled Smart Features and Personalization, and uncheck it. This is the setting almost everyone finds. It is also, on its own, not enough. Beneath it, or linked from it, you will find an option called Manage Workspace Smart Feature Settings. Click through to that page and you will see 2 more toggles waiting for you, both switched on. Turn off both. Only when all 3 are disabled, the in-app checkbox and the 2 workspace toggles, has Gemini's access to your Gmail content actually been closed. If you use the Gmail mobile app rather than a browser, the path looks slightly different but leads to the same destination. Open the app and tap the menu icon in the top left corner. Scroll down to Settings, then tap your specific email address, since these settings apply per account, not globally across every email you own. From there, tap Data Privacy. You will find toggles for Smart Features and Personalization, and Smart Features in other Google products. Turn both off. Then, just as on desktop, follow the link to the broader Workspace Smart Features setting and disable it there as well, because the mobile app does not automatically sync that 3rd layer for you. There's a detail here that deserves its own moment of attention, because it changes what off actually means. Even with every one of these settings disabled, Google's back-end processing for spam filtering and account security continues automatically, and there is no toggle that turns that off because it is treated as a core function of the email service itself rather than an optional AI feature. So understand the boundary you're actually drawing here. You're not making your email invisible to every automated system Google operates. You're cutting off the specific pipeline that feeds your private messages into Gemini's summarization, suggestion, and reasoning tools. Spam detection continues. Malware scanning continues. What stops is the AI reading your content to generate a briefing, a summary, or a suggested reply. Modem guides. And once you've closed Gmail's doors, the story doesn't end there, because Gemini's reach extends into places most people never think to check. If personal intelligence has been enabled on your account, either by you or by default on certain premium tiers, that connection needs to be severed separately, inside Gemini's own settings, not Gmail's, disconnecting Gmail, Photos, and Search individually rather than assuming one master switch handles all 3. On Android devices, Gemini has effectively replaced the original Google Assistant, meaning the AI may already have the ability to send messages, set timers, and even place calls on your behalf, regardless of whether you ever explicitly agreed to that level of access. To disable it at the device level, go to Settings, then Apps, then Gemini, and select Disable. While you're there, check Settings, then Apps, then choose Default Apps, then Digital Assistant app, and switch it away from Gemini entirely, because the system update can quietly restore it as your default assistant without asking first. Tuda. If you use Google Chrome on desktop, there's a separate concern entirely. Reports have found that Chrome has quietly installed a multi-gigabyte Gemini Nano AI model directly onto users' devices, running in the background without clear notification. To check this, navigate to Chrome's AI innovation settings, find the Gemini section, and toggle it off, along with the history search feature powered by AI and the Help Me Write suggestions sitting nearby. Each of these is a separate thread of the same fabric, and each one requires its own deliberate action to cut. Tuda. Here is the uncomfortable truth sitting underneath everything you've just read. Even after every setting is disabled, even after every toggle is switched off across Gmail, Android, and Chrome, you have not solved the underlying problem. You have only opted out of this version of it. Google periodically rolls out new AI features that default to on, and major updates, exactly like the January 2026 Gemini rollout, have enabled features across accounts, regardless of whatever choices users had made previously. What you switch off today can be quietly switched back on tomorrow, wrapped in a new feature name, announced in a blog post most people will never read, defaulting to active the moment it deploys. The only real defense is vigilance, rechecking these settings every time Google announces a change to Gmail, because your previous opt-out is not guaranteed to survive the next update. Modem guides. And this is the deeper current running underneath the entire story, the one that has nothing to do with settings menus at all. Trust here is not a neutral question, because Google's own regulatory record complicates any promise it makes about restraint. In 2024, Google's parent company Alphabet was fined nearly $2.9 billion for tax evasion, monopolistic practices, failing to comply with regulators, and illegally favoring its own advertising services. A company with that history asking billions of people to simply trust its self-reporting on how an AI handles their private emails is not an unreasonable thing to question. It is, arguably, the only reasonable response. Proton. Google insists your data is not used to train its models, but the company has a documented pattern of privacy-washing campaigns, publicly claiming that users have full control over their settings while relying on the near certainty that the overwhelming majority will never actually exercise that control. The promise and the mechanism are two different things, and only one of them is verifiable by an outside observer. The promise lives in a blog post. The mechanism lives in code none of us can see. Proton. So where does that leave you, sitting here, reading this, with your own inbox open in another tab right now? The technical instructions are simple enough that you could finish them in under 3 minutes. But the deeper question this story raises is not technical at all. It is a question about what private is even allowed to mean anymore. In a world where the default setting on the world's largest email service quietly assumes your permission, unless you go looking for the door yourself. It is a question about what happens the next time this company, or the next one, or the one after that, decides that a new AI feature is worth turning on for everyone first and explaining to almost no one. Because the truth sitting at the center of all of this is not really about Gmail, it's about the pattern Gmail represents. Every company holding your data is watching how this plays out, watching whether 1.8 billion people notice, whether the lawsuits gain traction, whether the outrage lasts longer than a single news cycle before fading into the background hum of features nobody remembers agreeing to. If this rollout succeeds quietly, if most people never find the 3 hidden toggles, if the 95% who never touch a settings menu simply absorb this as the new normal, then this will not be the last time your private correspondence becomes the default training ground for someone else's artificial intelligence. It will be the template. So the real question isn't whether you've turned off Gemini in your own inbox tonight, although you should, right now, before you close this out. The real question is what gets turned on next? Quietly, somewhere inside an account you haven't checked in months, defaulting to yes, waiting for you to notice. And when it happens, and it will happen again, will you be one of the people who caught it in time, or one of the 95% who never looked at all?